Welcome back to the Next is Now podcast. I'm Max Feldman, and I'm looking forward to bring you episode 12 of the pod and the seventh episode in our prep preview series. Just a little refresher. Through this series, I'm zooming in on a collection of the nation's top programs to preview the upcoming season, discuss a little bit about the offseason, talk program history, recruiting, and much more. Today, we have Paul VI head coach Glen Farello joining us. PVI has been synonymous with winning basketball over the past few years, whether it's been through the high school seasons or multiple of their guys in the EYBL. 31-4 this past season, including 15-0 in conference play, but now they'll look to take things to another level nationally, with the bulk of their core being seniors. After a dominant regular season in conference, the Panthers wound up falling just short in the WCAC championships and wound up falling short against a few national powers like Link Academy and Christopher Columbus out of Florida last year. But now, once again, the WCAC is loaded with big-time teams, and opportunities against national powers will be there, as they'll play in City of Palms, the Hoop Ball Classic, and a few other premier national events. Thank you in advance to Coach Farello, and let's dive in. Welcome on, Coach Farello. Appreciate you taking the time, as I know it's about to get real busy here. How's it feel to get back in the gym and get things rolling here?
Yeah, so today's we call it practice eve because tomorrow is my favorite holiday of the year, November 8th. First day of practice, official practice. So great time of year. Obviously, college kicked off yesterday, so seeing all our guys play at that level is fun to see it get started. And it's game on. Let's go.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. I wanted to get into this year's roster. Obviously, a lot of guys returning, a lot of the core returning. But in what ways do you think this year's roster might look different from last year's roster?
Yeah, when you have such a unique talent in Deshaun Harris-Smith and what he brought to the table, doing so many things, I think you don't replace that. You just kind of like have everyone elevate what they do, and so it's very similar as far as the style of play and how we're going to go about things. But of course, guys are going to be in different roles. You know, we expect major step ups in some of their games. You know, Ben Hammond is our point guard now, and he'll have the ball in his hands so much and did so much for us last year. But Deshaun did have a lot of that responsibility as well. Someone like Patrick Gongba, who has really just kept growing and growing and has increased so much in his game. So we have 5 seniors, all juniors last year that contributed so much to what we've done. In fact, over the last couple of years, and so that next step, the next evolution, if you will, we always kind of joke, you know, the iPhone, 8 compared to the 9 compared to the 10, as it goes on and on and on. Now I want to see, like, as a senior, I want to see Darren Harris 4.0, right? We're excited to see what that looks like, and with all of them. So, and then of course we have some young guys that had valuable experience last year that are ready to step up into bigger roles and bigger contributions. And so it's going to be the same type of feel for PVI basketball. That's not going to change as far as sharing the ball and playing fast and just having that element of attack offense, attacking defense. But excited to see what this version looks like. As we piece this together.
Absolutely. You touched on him a little bit there, but I wanted to start with Patrick Gongba. He's been a good, productive player for a long time now, but it seemed pretty clear this spring and summer that he was taking things to another level. Yep. What has gone into that progression, and is it something that you envisioned from the early stages?
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up, because this is something nothing he's doing is surprising to any of us. It's a matter of just that maturation process, that growth. He had some injuries when he was younger too, so he's been able to kind of overcome that and just get bigger and stronger. His skill set has always been there. His basketball IQ has always been there. So I think watching his progression as far as being able to kind of dominate in situations, he did it in moments last year for us, expanded that completely in the EYBL and into Peace Jam, and now we're expecting a monster season from him in a role that I just think he can handle, because he can play with other great players. He can assert himself in the way he does. He can score. He can pass. He can be a playmaker. He's always brought that element of defense and rebounding and physicality and toughness. But I think his whole overall game, as you said, he's really taken to the next level. And there's a mindset behind that too, right? When you have a dominant personality such as a Doug McDaniel 2 years ago on our team, and then Deshaun last year, which is great. That's what you want to see in your seniors, that leadership. Now it's Patrick's turn, along with his other senior teammates, but Patrick's turn to really kind of step up into that role, and I think he's very excited to do so.
Bounce around here a little bit, but I wanted to go to Jordan Smith Jr., one of the top overall prospects in his class. Got some good experience last year, just providing energy as a defender and an athlete. This spring, and it's something that we've seen on the made hoop circuit for a few years, she showed that there's a little bit more to his game and that he might be ready to take those steps.
Yeah.
What's been the focus with him just developmentally, and how do you see his role growing?
So I want him to have the ball in his hands a lot more. I think he's going to be a player that's going to develop into a on the ball, off the ball, but has point guard skills for sure, playmaking skills. I think we've seen it over the last few years, like when we had Trevor, right? Trevor Keels was able to step up and become a point guard. Deshaun doing the same thing as a big guard. We want them to have that ability to be able to do that. So I think that's what I've seen the most is his ball handling ability, his playmaking ability. He's always had it. He's putting that all together. He's shot making right now. He's knocking down threes. You know, he didn't have an opportunity to represent Team USA this year. And one of the things, one of his takeaways coming out of that was just to improve his range and his jump shot. And he has worked. He's a worker, so he's put a lot of time into it. I think you'll be excited to see his offensive impact of how it is that he handles all that, because the other stuff has already been there. It's natural, the defense, the rebounding, like it's as good as we've ever seen at PVI. And so I'm really excited to see, as I said earlier about the different versions, Jordan Smith Jr.'s 2.0. It's going to be fun to see what he brings to the table. But what we've seen here in the preseason, he's ready for that next step for sure in his game.
Darren Harris and Isaiah Abraham on the wing. There's not too many programs in the country who can roll out like a more mature competitive duo between those two. No shortage of big moments for them over the past few years, but now seniors. What do you think that 4.0 version of them looks like?
Yeah, I think what we're going to see is more consistency and kind of longer, again, moments, right? They've had some moments. We're going to see that, just kind of that pattern of being able to sustain it game in, game out, possession in, possession out. I think just from a defensive standpoint, an activity level standpoint, their athleticism, their strength, not just shot making. And I think that's, I know they're both known for their ability to score and be shot makers, but boy, I'll tell you, like, it's just going to be fun to watch them round out their game and have that total package. So that's the expectation, that they're checking off every box this year as seniors, and they want to, and they're committed to that. So it's going to be fun, and again, we want to see that ball going a lot for them too.
Absolutely. Garrett Sundra headed to Notre Dame next year. He's been consistently one of my favorite guys just to evaluate and watch these past 2 years. And I think he's a guy, like, the box score just doesn't always reflect his value.
Right.
Coach Jones from Team Takeover talked about it a little bit this summer, but what's the value of having a guy like him in your rotation?
Yeah, so you kind of said it right, because he just knows how to play with other great players, knows how to space, knows how to cut off people, knows how to find people. You can kind of put him anywhere on that court, and he's going to know and make the right play. And when you have a teammate like that, you can feel very confident. So we talked about some of these other guys that are very skilled and have the ability to score the ball and make plays. Well, you need to have some guys around you that know how to space and play off of you. And I think, if you were to talk to our point guard, Ben Hammond, he just loves playing with Garrett, because Garrett just knows how to play off of, recognize where Ben's going, what he's doing, and how to make that play. So yeah, Garrett, just his upside is going to be fun to watch, just because as he keeps adding strength and physicality to his game, the skill set, the feel for the game is there. So I'm glad that you kind of recognize that as a player, and his development. Step out on the wing, handle the ball, make those kind of decisions. A lot of trust. His teammates love him. He's one of the best teammates we've ever had here at PVI. His positivity, his energy level, his intelligence. So I'm really glad that Notre Dame was able to identify that in him, and we're going to see him blossom as well, as far as his maturity into his senior year.
No doubt. For Ben Hammond, you talk a little bit about him stepping into that role as a senior now. What are some things that you think he has to be doing well if that's going to be a smooth transition?
Yeah, so Ben's been instrumental in our 62-9 record of the last 2 years. Won a lot of championships. He's been in so impactful. He's a winning guy. He's a winning player. But for to be a point guard and run the show in a PVI offense, and you go back at a Jeremy Roach, a Trevor Keels, a Doug McDaniel, and Aaron Thompson, even back in the day with Eric Green, Tillman Dunbar, we've always had these fast, competitive lead guards that can just do a little bit of everything and have that grit and toughness. And so that's the expectation that Ben's going to take that next level step. And we saw it in Peace Jam, right? We saw them with helping take over, win that championship. He has it in him. So high expectations, point guard responsibility within our program is a lot. So a lot is expected of him, and he knows that. He knows what he's stepping into. And one of the things that he always wanted to do is be the next one at PVI. So it's his senior opportunity, his senior moment, and he's got a great group to work with, right? And he's a pass first point guard that can really score it as well. So the way he's able to mix it up and kind of control the tempo and making sure everyone gets involved is a big part of our operation. And then on the other end, he's just a dog down there, is just competing. And so he sets the tone. He sets the tone. And guys, our culture, our identity is tied to a lot of times our point guards and how they bring it. And we're excited about what Ben's going to bring to the table for us.
Absolutely. Plenty more potential guys to hit on, but I wanted to ask about three others in specific. 𝘿evelopment is one of the most intriguing prospects in that national junior class who kind of just started to pop up this spring.
Yeah.
6'9" with a big time shooting stroke. How do you see him fitting in, and what do you think his ceiling looks like?
Yeah, so 𝘿evelopment's coming over to us, and it seems like he's been with us from day one. Like just the way he plays, you're spot on with how it is that you broke it out in his game. It's his passing ability, his playmaking ability, as well as ability to shoot it. But he can do a little bit of everything out there at 6'9". So he is an intriguing prospect, and I think a lot of the high majors are starting to recognize what he can bring to the table. So we're really excited about how he can fit in, get his activity level, use that length. But he gets in the open court, and the way he handles the ball and passes the ball is very fluid and knows how to play. And when you know how to play and you're playing with a bunch of new guys and you're kind of seamlessly transitioning into it, that says a lot about you as a player, but also about your teammates respecting you and bringing you in. So I think that's what we're going to see. You're going to be looking at him going, oh, what's this guy all about? Like, look at him get a lot of things accomplished. He's going to check off a lot of boxes. Sneaky athletic right now, and that's going to be fun to watch his development too. I know I've been saying about him for all these guys, but just he has such a high upside that he's going to really have a huge impact on us this year. Not even just waiting until his senior year. Like, hey, this year right now, come on in and help us do what we do.
Two young guys, both fresh off our East Circuit, Troy Tomlin and 𝘼aximizing. How have those guys settled in so far?
Oh man, the future's bright. Learning every day. We believe in iron sharpens iron, so they get a chance to compete against these older guys every single day. The older guys are really taking them under the wing to kind of teach them how it is that we do things and how to compete. And they already have that kind of competition level to them, right? They have a mindset. Again, I've been talking about basketball IQ. One thing that's very refreshing about my whole team is they really know how to play. Those two I think there's just something special about both of them, about how it is that they're going to make the transition to high school. Again, playing with a bunch of older guys, the time won't be there as much as for but I'll tell you what, 5 guys are graduating. I think they know this. As sophomores, there's high expectations. So our job is to help them get through their freshman year to learn and grow and get their opportunities. And when they have those opportunities, kind of go ahead and seize them and take advantage of it. This whole preseason, I think they've really made a big statement about who they're going to be and who they want to be. And so we're all noticing. All the older guys and the coaching staff, believe me, they're as good as advertised, as an expectation level for what we want and what we hope for them to be as PVI Panthers. So yeah, those are two I can talk all day long about the future with those two.
Absolutely. Going to turn it towards you here a little bit. Who is a potential X factor you think, if you guys are going to hit your highest level, who do you think is a guy that maybe has to elevate his game?
Yeah, 𝘖womack, our 6'6", 230-pound, if he rebounds and is physical and gives us that presence, as a 3-4-5, and he kind of plays a little bit everywhere. And again, we the way we play is just we're going to move pieces around for sure. I think if Jaquan can actually really take that next step for himself and bring that physicality and toughness, he has that, and I think that's a unique thing that he brings to the table, that we're definitely going to need and want for us to be successful, especially when we play on such a national schedule and play so many high level teams. And then Ant Brown, I think is a really special player for us. I think he's just a combination of what he can do as far as playmaking, shot making, and in his defense and toughness. He's got this competitiveness to him. So I think those two in their development, as they bring it every single day, is going to elevate our team, right? Everyone that you just mentioned, but just those two are X factors for us. If we can get them producing on a daily basis, being consistent, being competitive, they have competitive natures to them, but just that production from those two, I think that's going to take our team to the next level.
Right now, these past month or two, you've had college coaches fill in the gyms to recruit your guys and everything like that. I just wanted to ask, obviously, you've had a ton of successful guys come through the PVI program. What's kind of your 2 cents or some things that you stick by when you're helping your guys maneuver that recruiting process in terms of priorities and all that stuff?
Yeah, one of the things that we always make sure our players know about is making sure that they get to build relationships with the coaches. Those relationships and connections matter, as well as the players they're going to be playing with, right? So when they go on these visits, unofficial or official, like spend a lot of time with the freshmen and sophomores, get to know them and get to see a feel as they, hey, is this someone I want to play with? I want to be with. Our culture is very strong, and so we do have such a great family unit, if you will, the way they take care of each other. So that is a big part of the process as far as really understanding where you fit in and what kind of culture and identity that the school that you're going to get the feel for it by spending time with that. The relationships and connections are everything. Style of play matters. Obviously, just being able to get the feel for what the school is all about, what the life would be like as a student. That's really so important. How far are you away from home? Deshaun Harris-Smith is a great example, right? Found a great fit with Maryland, close to home. So now he has that ability to be with his family, see his family so much more. So I think there's a lot of different things that kind of go into play. I want our guys also always understand, like, hey, coaches are looking for guys that know how to play with other great players and want to be part of something bigger than themselves. So if you can actually identify that and see that, because I don't want to have agendas. I don't want, you don't want to play with players that have a bunch of agendas. You want to find a fit, but for yourself, coaches are going to love you if they notice that you're willing to compete, you're going to willing to work hard, and you're going to be willing to be part of something bigger than yourself. And if you can do those things, then you have opportunities. And I think that what we've seen over the years with our guys getting the opportunities to go to the different levels that they do, and the amount of coaches that come through to watch them, that is an appreciation, I think, in our players, and then our players are able to kind of have success at the next level because they have realistic expectations of what they're getting themselves into. And I keep saying it, but being part of something bigger than yourself, because too many are trying to stand out instead of trying to fit in. Our guys understand that, and that's kind of some of the things that we kind of try to hammer home for them.
No doubt. You guys are very unique in terms of just scheduling. Obviously having to compete in the WCAC, which is as tough as any conference across the country, but are also now mixing in those national competition games, big events, obviously set to participate in a few more this year. What do you think the value of playing in those high pressure games against other elite national competition when these guys are sophomores, juniors, seniors? What do you think that value is down the line for these guys?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, ever since I've been in this program, had a chance to lead this program, I always said, I'll play anybody, anytime, anywhere for our players. And I always ask them too. I always joke with them, say, hey, have you any idea what my career record is? And of course they look at me like, no. I say, yeah, no, I don't, because you don't care. I don't care. No one cares. I'm going to give you the best schedule possible. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to play against the best so you can measure yourself up and learn from it. And so we've had some big time successes, right? We've, I think we're the only team in the world has ever beaten over time, Mount Verde, Oak Hill, Mater Dei, IMG, St. Anthony's, Sierra Canyon. I mean, again, some of the best teams. So we had a chance to beat them all because we've been able to play them all. And but I also remember getting beat by Oak Hill one time at Bass Pro, and Brandon Slater was a freshman at that time, and Brandon was crying in the locker room afterwards. He was really disappointed, and I stopped him. I said, "Hold on, Brandon." I said, "When you're 18 years old, when you're a senior, and you expect to lose to a freshman, if you're even as good as you are," and he's like, "No." It's like, "Yeah." So you just lost to the senior version of yourself. I said, you're going to get there, but you need these moments now to kind of get yourself going to understanding what's needed to be successful. And of course, that kid went on to lead us to a championships and on to Villanova. And now he's with the Celtics. And I think that's a perfect example of why we do it, where we want to challenge our players to give them great opportunities. Hey, sometimes you're going to get it, right? But again, I say iron sharpens iron within our program. You're also playing against the best teams. So our national schedule has always been very strong. We will compete with anybody. Let's go. Let's have some fun. Game on with all that. And I think that's where, get a chance to go to City of Palms this year, Bass Pro Tournament champions. We always play tough teams in the Nike Hoops Fest that Keith Stevens runs here locally. We get a chance to go to Hoop Hall again. And so it's exciting to be able to do that. And I think our guys thrive in those moments, and they love those moments, and they got to test themselves. And again, it's been fun to do so. But that mindset, and it leads into like conference play, right? So we come back and we're 27-2 in conference the last 2 years, won 2 regular season championships, and I think that all plays in together. Like they understand we need all these pieces to be able to develop and grow as a team, and to be challenged. And so that's kind of the mentality and the philosophy behind it. And a lot of people always say, man, why do you play so many teams that are really good? Like I don't have a soft schedule, and I want to keep adding those games for my players. They love it. So let's go.
For sure. Final 2 here, and you kind of led me into this next one, but what would you say the difference between PVI's culture is and all these other national power programs?
I can't really answer just respectfully. I don't know how everyone else's is. I can speak to ours, and especially like, we get a chance to go to Geico last year, right? We're pretty much the only non-academy team that was invited. So the traditional 4-year school that, from a local standpoint, I really think our culture and identity from our guys, like the closeness, they care about each other so much, right? They're great teammates. We always talk about competing with each other, not against each other. So I think there's that pride factor that we have here at PVI that is very unique, very special. We also come from the DMV, and so the DMV has a very strong culture from a basketball standpoint, and a pride of how it is that we're going to play together. And so I think that one thing that has been noticed by a lot of people on the national landscape of how connected our guys are, how we have so many great players. We've had all Americans, but no one's trying to stand out. It's all within like the team concept, the team framework of what they want to do. And again, we set the standards for it, but they execute on it, and they want to. So older guys want to take care of the younger guys. They want to see them succeed. The younger guys want to make sure the older guys go out on the right note. So there's such a strong bond there within our culture and identity. And we only pick the right guys. When I say that, like, respectfully, for our team, it's really important that the way we play is, my older guys got to say, hey, we want this one. We want the next guys coming in. Then you mentioned Navarro and Troy as 2 examples. Dylan Harsani is another one of our freshmen. The older guys wanted them in. They want to be part of the program. Hey, coach, these are the next guys. Let's make sure we bring them in. So I think that culture, it has always been strong. And if you hear our guys talk about it, it means a lot to them. And they know they're going to play with other great players. They want that. They want to be strong. They want to have that opportunity. We of course love to get back to Geico this year to represent that way. But it's a fun, unique place that we have going here. And I give a lot of credit to my coaching staff and just the culture here at the school itself, that family environment that they feel on a daily basis. I mean, it is a wonderful school environment. And of course the players themselves, they care. It matters to them, can't just matter to the coaches and have it and be coach speak. The players have got to buy into it, and they do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Final one here. And it doesn't have to be a question based on pure talent level or anything like that. It might be guys that stuck out as chemistry, locker room, just guys that were great to coach. But What's a Mount Rushmore of guys you've
Ooh.
coached at PVI?
Oh, that's not fair because someone's going to be mad at me that I'm not talking about him. I will say this. Let me just start with Aaron Thompson. Aaron Thompson's now an assistant coach at GW. Played a year overseas last year. Was at Butler as their point guard for 5 years. With the COVID year included. Aaron Thompson graduated from 2017. Led a young group, and that group was Anthony Harris, Jeremy Roach, Brandon Slater. I mean, he had this young group that was just not quite ready, right? And as a senior, led them and just brought our culture to another level to manage so much of them. So he goes down as our favorite player of all time, and also he my wife's favorite player. So I gotta say she was his English teacher. So Aaron's got to be there. Brandon Slater, I mentioned him earlier. Just as a fun, his attitude was fantastic. He just wanted to get better every single day. So he's someone that culture wise really bought in and was fun to coach and just see him develop and become a player worthy of being at Villanova. I think he just established a level of intensity, but having fun at the same time. And I want to go back to the who started it all. Eric Green, right? Eric Green played for us, went to Virginia Tech, led the country in scoring as a senior at Virginia Tech's been playing he's been a pro ever since, played a couple of years in the NBA. He won us our first state championship in 2009, which was my second year. And so he started it. He kind of came in and blind faith, if you will, helped start the program. So there's 3 guys right away. And of course, the recent guys that, all of them, I just, like Doug and Sean. I thought how Deshaun handled himself last year and how he, for 2 years, led us and cared so much about the success of his teammates. Really matters. In fact, the whole team's going tonight to watch him at University of Maryland in his debut. So the respect factor there, but Trevor, Jeremy, I won't say anyone right now that's in the program because I want to challenge them to rise up into it and finish it off. Although I will say 100% that there's high expectations of Jordan Smith Jr. because that kid he plays harder than everybody. He is actually on par with Aaron for how hard he plays. We've been blessed with a lot of players. Whoever watches this, all my guys that have played, I love you all. So if I did not mention your name, believe me, I love you and believe in you. But that's a handful of guys that are worthy of I think mentioning right now.
No doubt. That's all I got for you. Thank you again for the time, Coach. Looking forward to catching you in the gym soon and watching you guys here as the season tips off.
You got it.